harmed by Pacific land use. Tonight is the first of two public hearings. A second will be held before the Board of Commissioners, I believe, on December the 1st at 6 p.m. at this location. Attendance is not required, but your attendance is recommended. As for the order of business tonight, I will introduce the applicant, and then the zoning administrator will give her comments. Then the applicant will come forward, state their name and address, and state their reason for their request. You may provide information or documentation supporting the application. Next, the Planning and Zoning Commission will have the opportunity to ask the applicant questions. Next, I will open the floor for public comment. Ample time will be given to those that may want to speak for or in opposition to the rezone request. All comments will be addressed to the commission and not to others in attendance. No personal attacks will be allowed. Next, the applicant will be allowed ample time to rebut any concerns expressed by other speakers. At this junction, no other comments will be allowed except by the board members. Then I will open a special session of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Then I will ask for a motion to approve, deny, or approve with conditions. The board recommendation will be presented Monday night, December 1st, to the Board of Commissioners. Does any of the Planning and Zoning Commissioners need to recuse themselves for any request tonight? Hearing none, we will proceed. Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the audience? If not, we will begin our first request.
Okay. We have Willie and Joanne Stevenson, and they are requesting to rezone a 4-acre portion of their 22.66 acres from A1 to AR to allow it to be split and gifted to their daughter for a home site, and to rezone the remaining 18.66 acres from A1 to A2 to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 0 Johnson Bridges Road in Danielsville on map 67, parcel 49 in District 2.
All right, Stevenson's present. Please come forward and let us know what you're asking of us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here to ask, we had planned this, we went over to the planning and zoning people already, and we want a minimum of 4 acres to be gifted to my daughter, my wife and I, for her to build her home. And from this committee, that's what I'm looking forward for. Just for her to build a house on that 4 acres. I think that was one of the requirements that she discussed was the minimum of 4 acres. So we're trying to follow the rules down to what y'all have at hand at time. So if that is given, we'll move forward.
All right, sir. Does any planning and zoning group have any questions for Mr. Stevenson? Not? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
At this point, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak for this particular rezone request? Anyone here wants to speak in favor? Hearing none, is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to commissioners, and I will entertain a motion to approve, disapprove, or approve with conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we, make a motion that we, approve this request.
We have a motion to approve, this request. We have a second. Any further discussion? If not, Cynthia?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, the, board has introduced, this is approved. We will recommend to the Board of Commissioners on December first that they make that approval, recommendation. One of the things that I failed to mention is this is a recommending board only. And we will recommend to the Board of Commissioners that they do accept this approval.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, number 2.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I'm struggling with a backhoe right now, and I'm finding it hard to read these. Would it be all right if, zoning clerk?
that'd be just
reads
fine,
these?
just fine.
Thank you.
All right, so number 2, Greg Malden and Mary Ann Hines are requesting to rezone their 0.18 acre property from AR to A2 to allow it to be combined into their adjoining A2 zone property, 0057016, for a total of 19.25 acres for tax purposes. The property is located at 0 Johnny McElroy Road in Culvert on map 56, parcel 7301 in District 2.
Is the applicant here? Please come forward, sir.
Thank y'all for hearing this evening. We basically just want to, add that 0.2 of an acre to our other property, so we have one tax bill.
No.
That's it. That's it.
Okay. Any questions?
How'd that little sliver get there? Was it because the road ran through?
I'm
just curious.
Long story short, when the property across the street was sold, we had asked to be able to buy that little corner to kind of square it off, and it was granted to us. And it just happened to be a different thing, so when we had it resurveyed, they said we had to come and take care of it. So that's it.
All right. Any further questions? Thanks, sir.
Right.
At this point, we'll open the public hearing. If anyone wants to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone want to speak in opposition? If not, we'll close the public hearing and we'll bring it back to the board, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
A motion by Cynthia to approve.
One second.
Well, second by Kenneth. Any questions, comments? Kenneth?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we will recommend to the Board of Commissioners, that this be approved. Again, you don't have to be here, but I recommend that you do on December 1st. We present before the commission. All right, number 3.
Rose Patterson is requesting to rezone her 9.45 acres from A2 to AR to allow a 4-acre split to give her son for a home site and to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 2825 Spratland Mill Road in Cole on map 32, parcel 77 in District 3.
All right. The applicant here,
Yes.
please come forward and make any comments that you'd like.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just requesting to give my son 4 acres of land where he can make a home site there and be closer to me as I get older and need assistance.
Anything else? Any questions? Hearing none, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. If anyone wants to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board and we'll entertain the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve,
Second.
a second. Any questions or comments? If not, Lee, I believe it's on you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, this has been approved. We will recommend to the Board of Commissioners, for its approval. Again, you don't have to be here, but it will come before the commissioners on December 1st. Number 4.
Tommy Hunter and James Pickerel are requesting to rezone their 12.01 acres from A2 to R1 to allow the property to be split into 4 3-acre tracts with self-proposed conditions. The property is located at 166 George Edwards Road in Comer on map 68, parcel 8602 in District 2.
All right, applicant, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Good.
My name's Tommy Hunter, I live at 2334 Holly Creek Church Road in Paoli, which is in, I have a Carlton address for some reason, but, this is a parcel that, my buddy James Purple and I bought about 2 years ago, I think it was in 23, and bought it in 50-50 split. James lives in Beaufort and has 4 boys that are in, two are in college and one's in high school and one is in his last year of middle school. And I would like to get out of that piece of property and not have partners, and go and do something else with my part of it. And so, what we've talked about is him buying me out, with the condition that it could be split into 4 parcels so he can give one to each of his children when they graduate high school or college. And so we were gonna go ahead and approach to do that. Find out because of the way the zoning, requirements are set up, AR wouldn't allow us to get to 3 acres. It's a 12.01 acre parcel, so we want to get 4 equal pieces, 3 acres. The AR wouldn't allow us to get there. I heard talk that they were going to reduce the acreage size. Hasn't anything been happening with that, so we just want to go ahead and move forward with the plan. And to do that, we have to zone it to the R1. That's the only one that allows anything under 4 acres. And we realize that the commission has shown some hesitation, I guess, to zone property to R1 because of using them for subdivisions, such. Tracy and I discussed that. And so to get folks to understand what we want to do here, we're willing to bring forth self-proposed conditions to the property. Currently, it's actually 2 tracts. It's zoned A2. It's 12 acres, but it's 2 tracts. Tract 1 is 3 acres, and the other tract is 9.01 acres. The 166 George Edwards is actually a 3-acre parcel that borders George Edwards Road, and the remainder borders Highway 98. And so really what we're asking to do is to be able to split the 9-acre parcel. The 3 acres, we could already give it to one of them. But then that would leave unequal gifts to the others, and you know how that goes when you get forward and everybody wants one the same. So anyway, we could go ahead, like I said, we could go ahead and give the one, it's zoned A2, it's non-conforming. By zoning it to R1, it would bring it into conformity with the zoning regulations. Doing so on these other 3 would do the same thing. Our recommended conditions, because we know you give something to somebody, you don't have any control over what they do with it. And so future to control what is done with it, and because I happen to live in the area and don't want to see any more modular homes or mobile homes put out there on that property with who knows what around it, we put forward the recommended conditions to approve it as a R1 subject to the following enumerated conditions. 1, to restrict the use of the property as follows. A, single-family detached residential dwellings and accessory uses and buildings only. B, home shall be site-built and shall be a minimum of 1,800 square feet heated for single-story and 2,200 square feet heated for 2-story. C, home shall be finished with facades of brick, stacked stone, fiber cement siding, or shake with a minimum of 2 feet brick water table on all facades. All dwellings, D, all dwellings shall have a minimum of 2-car garage. Item 2, to satisfy the following site development considerations, all utilities serving the dwellings or any accessory building shall be placed underground and B, all disturbed areas, for construction shall be sodded. And we do that because we want to make, the conditions part of the zoning so the county can enforce them. So that people don't have to come around as individuals and try to enforce a covenant. We want to add these conditions to it to make it from now on, binding and enforceable by the board, requiring a public hearing in order to change any of that. And so that's what we're gonna do, make sure we're not looking to do a subdivision, we're gonna do a 4 split to give his kids, who knows what they like to do with it. We wanna make sure they don't, the next ones don't do anything we don't want.
All right, I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I do need to address something that he just said.
Okay.
You said that these are 2 separate tracts, and this recorded plat that was done August 26th of 21, it was combined into 1 tract. So it's all
It is, they did
one
combine it?
tract.
Okay,
Yeah, so
that's
it's
fine.
not 2 separate.
Okay.
I have a question.
Well, my question was, you realize that this doesn't meet the comprehensive plan that was put together? Do you realize that?
I realize that's stated, but we do have 27 contiguous, non-conforming parcels.
Okay. My second question was, you put these self-proposed, I have a question for our attorney. Even though you put that on there, you're expecting the county to enforce them. Does the county have the right to enforce self-proposed?
Well, the county would impose conditions for, if it's saw fit to do so, to protect neighboring property, comprehensive plan, the citizenry in general. Conditions are not a substitute for covenants. If you want subdivision covenants, you're gonna have to do subdivision covenants.
Okay, that was my question.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding why you can't put it into 3-4 acres?
Because he's got 4 kids.
Oh, that's the only reason.
Right.
Oh,
Got 4
okay,
boys.
because I'm saying with 4 acres each.
Well, even in this current, you couldn't do that because it's on day 2.
You can rezone it.
You would have to zone it
To
AR,
yeah, which.
but he would have 1 child.
But it only allows
Yeah, I know.
3.
And on conditions, well, we're not proposing to put the condition on that. We're presenting those to the Board of Commissioners to approve as part of their approval. We don't want an approval of just straight R1 with no conditions. We want an approval with R1 with those conditions. Then they become part of the zoning and they are enforceable by the Board of Commissioners.
Again, but the government doesn't enforce covenants, and these look like covenants.
That's correct. They do not enforce covenants. These are not covenants. They are
I went to
zoning
law
conditions.
school. I went to law school. Okay.
They are zoning conditions.
I went to law school.
Okay.
I'm just giving my client advice.
Okay, that's fine. And I'm telling you what we're for.
Okay. All right, any further questions from the board? Hearing none? Thank you, sir. All right, we will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone in attendance tonight that would want to speak in favor of this rezone request? Do I see one?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition?
Yeah.
All right.
All of us.
All right, I'll ask you to come up one at a time, but I will ask, because we've got a pretty packed agenda, if someone else says something that you want to say, the same thing, please limit it as much as possible. Now, first one, please come forward. You choose whoever you want to speak first.
And please make sure you sign in if you speak.
Okay, I apologize for reading, but I'm not a
That's
public
okay.
speaker, so, here we go. My name is Allison Carter. My husband and I live at 335 George Edwards Road. I'm here with my parents, Danny and Diane Lord, who own, the farm immediately facing this property to be rezoned, 171 George Edwards Road. We are here to speak in opposition to the rezoning of this property from A2 to R1. According to the comprehensive plan, this property falls into the rural conservation character area and should remain zoned for agriculture. Currently, there are farming practices that occur on all four sides of 166 George Edwards Road. Mr. Hunter has verbalized his intent to my parents to subdivide this property since its purchase. To allow R1 zoning would set a precedent in this area that goes against the comprehensive plan. I understand that Mr. Hunter and Mr. Purple are looking for a return on their investment, but they knew this property was zoned for and surrounded by farmland when they purchased it. Our investment in this community is different from theirs. It does not have a dollar sign attached to it. We ask that this 12-acre tract not be rezoned to R1, but remain zoned for agricultural purposes.
All right. Next.
Hello, my name is Jonathan LaCrosse, and I own the 3 properties immediately to the southwest of Mr. Purpose and Mr. Hunter's. I've owned in the area for close to 9 years. I'm an architect, and I also have a background in urban planning. I want to commend you all for the impressive, comprehensive, and visionary plan. I've shared it with colleagues in Atlanta, where I do most of my business, and this county has it right. But this proposal completely ignores and is in non-compliance with the comprehensive plan on many levels. Allison said it correctly. I was going to say many of what she said. But on other areas, it doesn't, it's also in non-compliance in terms of historic resources. On page 22, in our area, there's 2 properties, at least I determined there was 2 on the little blips. I have the oldest house on 98. It was built in its original location. It's a log cabin from the Carruthers family, 1790. The house that I bought first is their 1870s home that they built after the Civil War. And my vision for this property is that it's a cultural, historical, and agricultural resource for our county. I'm committed to it, and I've slowly been adding acreage over the years, and I would like to see this area preserved. Additionally, the traffic in the area. 3 new curb cuts on 98. This level of density doesn't exist outside of the outside of cities and municipalities. Additionally, hydrology of the site. I don't know that that site can support 4 new septic fields, 4 new wells. Our wells are going to go dry. And additionally, the damage that this could do. We also have a county ditch that runs towards there. I don't see any easements to that feeds into multiple creeks. If you look at the map, we have 5 creeks that go out, and that is identified in the sheet where we have the watershed that north of 98 is within the comprehensive plan. So I oppose it. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you.
So your property is this corner that?
Yes. So I have the house here, and this is where the log cabin is. This is the 1870s house. I've just restored an 1860s smokehouse there, and then I go all the way to the edge of the road.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please come forward.
I sent an email to you, I don't know, I'm just gonna read you the email, I think I just sent it to you, but if you all need a copy. I'm here to speak in opposition. Our county's worked hard to preserve the rural identity, and this development would set a concerning precedent for our future growth. Approving this rezoning would signal to other landowners and developers that higher density housing is acceptable in areas not suited for it, essentially opening the door to a wave of similar requests. Such a shift would fundamentally alter the landscape of our community over time. Beyond the aesthetic and cultural impact, our community simply doesn't have the infrastructure to support additional housing at this time. The sheriff's office is already short-staffed and stretched thin. Our local elementary schools are operating at or near capacity. In addition, increased housing density would directly impact public safety, and emergency services. Our volunteer fire departments and EMS teams already face extended response times due to long distances and limited staffing. And adding more households would only stretch these critical services further. Roads and transportation must also be considered. George Edwards Road and surrounding routes were not designated for heavier residential traffic. More vehicles will worsen wear and tear on these rural roads, increase congestion, and potentially delay emergency response times. Any further upgrades or widenings would fall on the county and ultimately the taxpayers. Furthermore, the rezoning would not lessen the tax burden for current homeowners. In many similar cases, increasing housing density has led to greater demand for county services, resulting in higher long-term costs rather than relief. Our rural community values responsible growth, not rapid development that sacrifices the quality of life for short-term gains. I urge the board to protect the integrity and sustainability of our county by denying this rezoning request. Maintaining our rural zoning ensures that future growth happens thoughtfully and within the limits of what our infrastructure and community can realistically support. My family lives at 700 George Edwards Road.
We just need you to say your name, please.
Jamie Gentry.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Watch your head.
I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Joanne Maloney. She is strongly opposed to this. They've lived there for over 40 years. She would be here tonight.
Your name?
Kim Maloney, M-A-L-L-O-N-E-E, but we were getting her in the car, I was, and she got really shaky just thinking about this. So the Maloney's say no. And just what we own the property, right next to Hunter. When he first bought it, he was out there surveying the land. He is a developer from Atlanta and a real estate agent. So I strongly oppose this. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Russell Fogg, and I join Tommy's property. This is his line, point. This is my property here, okay? And this property was bought at public auction by my grandparents in 1934. So it came down, my grandparents to my mother, and then I inherited it, and I'm third generation. And I've been on this property for really all my life, and I used to own the piece of property that Tommy Hunter bought from Scott Willoughby. I sold the property to Scott Willoughby in 2021. And then a couple of years later, Tommy Hunter bought this 12-acre tract from Scott Willoughby. And so I'm in opposition because it's been agriculture all these years. My grandparents, they planted cotton, they picked cotton, they had hogs, chickens. They were farmers. They didn't have a public job. They were farmers. I would like for it to remain A2. Like I said, this farm originally had been in my grandparents' since 1934. Any questions?
No, sir. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
I'm Daniel, and I live at 171 George Edwards Road, just across from this property. I
I guess I'm up here to speak, but all the old farmers, since I have generations on this place, on my place. I've known all the farmers that's farmed this land for 70 years. I don't think there's any of them that would stand up here and tell you that they want this land split. The land on C.O. Draper Road, 75-acre tract, was split. It was already split up before the realtor bought it. He had no trouble selling those large tracts of land. And so there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to sell this as one tract since it's in farming. And that's just the way I feel about it, and I think everybody around me feels, the older people, that this is a shame.
All right. Thanks, sir. Anyone else? All right, I will remind the board that you got some opposition letters, and we won't read those, but I'm sure all of you have gotten them and read them. At this point, we will ask the applicant, do you have any rebuttal?
I appreciate, people's stand on where they're at about this area. It'd be nice if we could shut the door and say nobody else is coming, you can't do that. Believe me, that's why I moved to Paoli, to get back. I want to die how I was raised out in the country. I'm on a farm out here for over 20 years on Cherokee Road. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money in this county. It's not like I'm some new guy that showed up. The thing is, though, to think that this is gonna stay an A2 piece of property with farming and alfalfa, which is what we're doing, on facing 98 highway between Comer and Danielsville, is just, that's nonsense. It's not gonna happen. But you're making the assumption that we're gonna come out here and build houses. I popped off to Danny because the first time I ever met him, the first thing out of his mouth was, get those tarps out of my sight, I'm tired of seeing them, before he even told me his name. And I've been a country boy my whole life, and I know good and well that when you meet somebody for the first time and you tell them what to do on their property, that ain't a good way to get off on it.
Okay, sir, let me stop you there. I don't need any personal attacks, stay on the subject of the land.
So the reason, I told him we was gonna put a bunch of houses over. I just did that being smart. We ain't got no intention to do that. The market's not there. You know, if you build houses and there's no market, people ain't gonna buy them, and you ain't gonna build a house. But this is for something, I don't know what them boys will do with it, don't really care. But I do know if they ever do build a house. No. If they ever do build houses on it, or if anybody ever does build houses on it, I want them to be nice ones. It's gonna be a benefit to the county and a benefit to the tax base instead of something right now, you could put a trailer over there right now and pile all kind of junk over there right now. My partner, James, he's known for that. It's been quite a battle keeping him from bringing stuff from his auctions over there and leaving it. And he could do that. But I don't want to see that because I fight with him all the time. I have to keep it cleaned up because I live there. And what these kids want to do with it, that's their business, but we won't be able to let them do it. And something they can give them, because where they grew up was country not too long ago too. And when they graduate, they're the type boys, they're always been farming, cutting hay, baling hay, that's all they know. They can't do that in Beaufort anymore. And so I don't know whether they'll ever move out here or not, they might. So that'd be their choice to do it. We're not gonna go out there and, I know James he's not a builder. He's an electrician for Cardinal Glass. He's not gonna come over and build houses. That's all we're asking is to split for 4 lots. He can give them to his boys. Who knows what happens from there.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we will close the public hearing and I'll bring it back to the board and I will entertain a motion. But I will say as chair, we must be consistent. We have a comprehensive plan that guides us as one of the things that guides us in our deliberations. So at this point, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, it is clear that this parcel is in the rural conservation character area. R1 is inconsistent in this area. I would move that we deny this request.
All right, we have a motion to deny this request. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I believe,
Yes.
on you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, sir, this, from this board, it has been a denial. On December the 1st, we'll recommend to the Board of Commissioners that this request be denied. The decision will be up to them, but from this board's position, I will present to them a recommendation of denial. All right, moving forward.
Next, we have James and Ruby Dunlap are requesting to rezone their 15.15 acres from A1 to A2 to allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for a family member. The property is located at 475 Rock Quarry Drive in Danielsville on map 52, parcel 119G in District 4.
All right, the applicant here. Please come forward, state your name and tell us what you'd like. Good evening. Good evening, this is Assistant. Yeah. James Dunlap, 465 Rock Quarry Drive. We're just looking for a rezone so we can get a place in the right spot. Just a long time. 1,000 square foot, 2 bed, 2 bed, house in the back. Not near to the right back. She's close to the right close. That's close. All right, anything else? Thanks, sir. All right, at this point, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak for this rezone request? In favor? Hearing none, is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Cynthia?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, sir. I will recommend to the Board of Commissioners that this rezone request be approved. All right, next.
We have Hunter Downing, applicant for Capital Resource Management, is requesting to rezone 6.68 acres from A2 to R1 to split the property into 3 tracts containing 1.895, 2.004, and 2.189 acres to sell. The property is located at 227 Golf Lane in Colbert on map 71, parcel 88 in District 5.
All right, Mr. Downing.
Hunter couldn't make it tonight, her son got sick, and so I'm stepping in for her. So what we're basically doing, I'll wait for her to get the picture up here.
Thank you.
So the center tract here, there you go, the center tract here has a house on it and some barns on it, very bad condition. We tore down most all the barns, cleaned the property up, done a lot of work on the house, got it livable again. And so we've kept it, and right now that's a rental property. The tracks on both sides of it, which are 1 and 3, this one is on Highway 172, and this one is connected. Down here is Highway 72. This is just a cut road between it. And so I'm just basically, she was cutting out the house parcel with the barns on it, so we could build a house on parcel 1 and parcel 3. That's what we're requesting.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Any questions? Thanks, sir. Basic question. Is this in, according to comprehensive plan, is this in the character area? It is inconsistent.
It's consistent.
It's consistent.
There it says it's in the culvert.
I'm sorry, it is consistent.
It is consistent, okay. All right, we will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone wants to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here wants to speak in opposition?
Yes.
Please come forward, state your name.
I'm Thomas Stillbald. I just bought the adjoining property there on 172 back in February. What drew me to the area was the ruralness of it, and got me out of Athens. Seeking against because I'm on the water table and it's already pretty low. Adding 2 more houses onto that, I'm not sure if I'll be able to wash my clothes and take showers the way I'm used to. So, also, as my understanding, once it's been to residential, you can continue to subdivide that, can you not? So, like, when you start selling, when you're putting it up for sale for residential, how far does that go? Because an acre, you can put 4 more houses on that lot.
No. It's not true.
Okay, yeah. But again, it's like, it drew me, like, I have that acre surrounding it for my dogs, and like, we got drawn to the country to see more properties go up right there. We draw against it.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak in opposition?
Yes.
Please come forward, state your name and.
My name is Melinda Baker. I own all of it. 2.5 years ago, I wanted to do this and was told I couldn't. I had too much land to go to residential. I didn't have enough land to be subdivided. I will send you to your page 82, section 7.2, agricultural district. The last sentence of the introductory paragraph is the minimal parcel subdivision in this district is 10 acres. It's in your ordinance. I was told I couldn't subdivide. 2.5 years ago, I had to wait until this particular ordinance went into effect to be able to do it. I also have some other notes. As well as TJ, I am concerned about the water table. I had to tie into county water because there wasn't enough to support my house and their house. And it runs low. And that lower part, this part, they would have to tie into county water too, whether they know it or not, because you don't have enough water. I also have a problem with watershed. That property drains down into my property. I have a ditch to carry it off. When Danny owned it, he owned this property and my property. And he dug a ditch, which is on my property. Most of it is on my property. So I'm worried about all the watershed if they start developing those 2 ends. I've also got a question about whether it can support 2 new septic tanks, 2 new drain fields. And I have a, what shall I say, concern about their history with buying properties, because they put single wide trailers on them. And I don't have anything against a trailer. I lived in one for years until it burned. And I was denied under the same circumstances to do the same thing. And I have my own personal quarrel with them over the renovation and the methods and pushing things up against my fences and tearing them down. And there's a deer stand that looks into my back property, which you can't develop that part of my property because it is the watershed for all the surrounding properties. So I'm definitely opposed.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah.
Just so y'all are aware, and everyone's aware, the water line for the county runs straight down Highway 172 here. First thing I did when I redid that house is hook the county water line, and I've got access to put 3 meters for each of those houses. So we would be connecting to city water, so we would not have any problem with messing with anybody else's water for their properties. Soil scientist has already reviewed the properties. All the soils are good. Don't have any problem putting septic tanks in there. It meets the county's comprehensive plan to where this is gonna be. And as we all already know, that once this is done, it can't be split again.
Are you developing? I'm sorry, I was reading. Are you going to develop these?
I'm gonna build a house on each tract.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There was something different on our.
Yeah, as y'all know, we're in the process of developing Spratler Mill right now. We are the developers in Spratler Mill. The last house we sold in there last month went for $980,000. I think that is one of the highest Madison County properties on a 1.5 acre tract to sell. We're just finishing up Nancy's place, which are 2,600 square feet houses, as y'all are aware. We don't just we do everything. We do houses, we do apartments, we do condos, I do office and industrial, where we hit everything, so we're not into just one zone.
All right, any questions for applicant? Not now, I will close the hearing and bring it back to before the board and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, since this is in the Colbert-Comer character area and it's appropriate for the requested zoning, I would recommend that we approve this request.
All right, we have a motion to recommend approval. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All right, Kenneth?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, this has been approved by this board. I will recommend, when I make my report on December 1st, the Board of Commissioners to recommend that this particular rezone request be approved. I will say that people in opposition and the applicant themselves, you don't have to be there, but I do recommend that you do, because commissioners have a final say, and they may have some questions that we did not address. All right, moving on.
We have Stanley James, applicant for his mother June James, is requesting to rezone her 2.06 acres from AR to B to allow the property to be combined with her adjoining business-owned property, 612702. The property is located at 212 James Adams Road in Danielsville on map 6127 in District 4.
All right. Yes, sir.
I'm Stanley James, and I'm owner of James Turbo Parts, which is on 192. And I like to combine the 312, which was my brother's. He's passed away. Would like to use the house for conference room and maybe some storage.
Okay. Questions?
So you, is this turbo in cars and stuff? Or what is it?
Just usually big trucks. We just do the turbo, so we don't work on the trucks.
So you just do the turbo part?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you want to use this part maybe for storage?
Storage and maybe a conference room. This, I don't think nobody's gonna live there. My brother lived there and passed away 2 years ago.
So, the trucks stay overnight and you?
No.
No, you just do the turbo?
Control us, yeah.
Okay. So there's no truck storage?
So what are you using that particular piece of property now for?
Right now, it's nothing. It's cleaned out.
Nothing.
At the moment.
So it's gonna be an extension of your business?
Yeah. We expanded so big, so the last few years, we need the space.
So just store, you won't be expanding your business to do more turbo work in that area or
No.
build?
We just need the storage space. The buildings are on both properties is the problem.
What else is on the property in addition to the house?
Some storage buildings. We use our
Will you use those
tractors and
those
stuff
as
like
well?
that.
But you're already using those for storage of tractors?
Yeah, we use those areas for storage. The buildings will. The house is nothing.
What kinds of things would you want to store on that piece of property?
Our tractor equipment and stuff like that. We still got 5 acres. My mom's joining land. We keep her property up. Lawnmowers, stuff like that.
So do you do any farming? You say you got tractors and stuff. You just use the
Just
tractors?
keeping the property cleaned up.
All right, and this is on presently AR, is that right? Right.
And you will be doing I guess you'd have to put up trees and all that to.
We have to.
Yeah. Is that a condition, or is that something that has to go along with the business?
I think that's just part of part of running a commercial business.
Yeah. Okay. So you have.
He may not have done it on his parcel if it's been there a long, he's been running that business a long time and maybe before zoning came into effect, but now he would.
All right, any further questions?
The property that you're currently operating off of now, you were able to select business zoning when zoning came into the county? This was because I think doing a little research, like you've been there since 81, is that right?
Yes.
And we came in 94?
94.
So you selected, or it was recommended or something at that point?
Right.
Okay.
One last question, I guess, all of the properties surrounding or close to your business, what is that? Is that A1, A2, AR?
They say A1, A2, and AR.
A1, A2, and AR.
Mm-hmm.
No other businesses close?
Yes.
I guess I'm sensitive to the fact that you've been a long time family business there.
Right.
What if this does not get rezoned? What does that do to your business?
Just don't, I'm thinking about later on if I need to sell a business or I don't want to carry it on for my kids to have to deal with it.
So you're wanting to combine the properties into one 5-acre tract?
Right.
So if he sells it, he has to stay business.
Yeah, once it's business, it's business. It doesn't matter who owns it.
Keep the same business.
Not unless it's rezoned to business with a condition that it only be used for storage for a truck turbo rebuilding business. You'd have to impose that as a condition. Otherwise, it would just be open to whatever.
It can be any kind of business.
Right.
All right, any further questions for Mr. James? Thank you, sir. All right, at this point, we will open the public hearing. If anyone wants to speak in favor of this request.
I will.
Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Karen James, his wife. So I feel like I'm part owner of all this too,
Okay.
and I'm looking out for my children. As I've seen my elderly aunts and parents and see what kind of messes not leaving your business in order will cost you. So that's what we are trying to do. That home is where a brother died, and a girlfriend gutted it. So no sinks, no stoves. It's just a hull of bad memories. The shop was very nice and built by that business because it was family, and family's supposed to do for each other. But in the meantime, that's not what happened. So we want this back for when our children have to do something with this, and this business has been there 40 years or more, that they can sell it as a whole and let it go. Just let it go, because there's none of our children that are in there working to keep the business continuing. The only thing they would be able to do then is rent it. The house is good for storage or maybe a meeting room, because there's no parts in there right now, but it will be. And the shop is great for the trailer, the tractors, the gators, things used on that property to move parts to and from and to take care of our mother-in-law's property, 17 acres across the road, 50 acres up on the hill. It's been in that family. Family's 63 years old. So nothing's changing. It's the same piece of property. The same neighbors have lived on each side, and across the street was our grandmother's property. So I just wanted to say I'm for it, but the reason we're going forward trying to take care of this type of business now is for our children's future, so things they don't have to fight for when it's our responsibility to get things in order. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Let me ask you a quick question. What is your advantage of combining these to one single 5-acre parcel versus leaving them separate? Say the house.
I will say this. This house was a gift for someone to live in and work here. He no longer lives. And on that building, this shop paid for this. This shop paid for all this to be put there. You can't cut a line. My mother-in-law wound up having to pay $240,000 for this to get it back from an estate, when it didn't cost the person living there anything. Does that make clear sense? So yeah, a little bit of is there. So to divide that, we're still giving somebody something. I want it James Turbo. It'll be June James until she passes. Then it will go into the state of the boy, LLC. And then it'll be rented, never as a house. Nobody ever needs to live in that. But, but that's the story. If you can just see there's no way to split what's here being used by this business, because this owner was the business, or so he thought he was.
All right, Lisa, good? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wants to speak in favor? Hearing none, is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back before the board I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right, Cynthia?
I make a motion I know this is not inconsistent with our comprehensive plan, but it's a long-standing business that's been there, and I feel they're just trying to extend it. It's an extension of the existing business that's already been there. So I make a motion with conditions that we approve this with conditions that it remain a truck turbo rebuild shop with storage.
All right, we have a motion by Cynthia with conditions. Is there a second? Is there a second?
And what happens if it is not used for that purpose?
Well, that's what I said, we put a condition on it, that if it's sold, is that not right with our,
Well, yeah, but that hurts. I mean, what they're trying to accomplish with combining this is to create value for a larger parcel that, for a business. And when you put a condition on it, then that kind of offsets the valuation somewhat there because it's only approved for that business.
right? Well, I feel, well, this is 40, what they've been here 40, they already have this, it's already been approved. They want to extend it or put storage. So even if someone else tried to come in with this, they still had to come before the board to get that approved. Because it's not a business district. So I mean, that's how I feel.
If it's done business, they would not have to get it back.
Is it not that part of
Is it-
the expense, I mean?
Well, let me ask this question, since you brought that up, this is the first part of the attorney, I guess, is if there was a condition that if it changed type of business, how do they have to come back and get approval?
Right. So when you have if you place a condition that's specific on it, that's not going to be, in any practical sense, sustainable for a future owner. So they would have to come back, but then the county would be in the position of granting a new zoning, either relieving that condition altogether or redoing that condition so that it is not a substantial detriment to the landowner that's not justified by the benefit of the public. So
if there was, in a case someone else wanted to try to put a business in their area, they would still have to come before the board.
yes, ma'am, but I just said a lot of other stuff around.
Yeah.
Okay, bottom line, we have a motion on the floor, we got a second? If not, that motion is dead. Do I have a additional motion or a separate motion? We can't leave it hanging in there. We've got to decide something to recommend.
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
So are the tracks?
No, you'll have to second
Oh,
motion. If that's what you want.
Okay, mine's good. Okay, I'll second that one.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve as presented. Any further comments or discussion?
So instead of having a 3-acre business park, I guess our choices are two. If it gets approved, it'll be a 5-acre parcel zone business. If it doesn't get approved, there's still gonna be a 3-acre business parcel.
It's already there.
Yeah, it's already there.
More taxes for the
All right,
county.
we have a motion and a second. This be approved as presented. Okay, I believe is it good?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
All right, we have, the board has voted to approve a recommendation from the Board of Commissioners that this be approved as presented. Again, you don't have to be here, but I suggest that you do, because the Board of Commissioners may have additional questions, and the final decision will be up to them. All right, moving on, and I think these 3 or 4 together, what on the back?
Yes, sir. So agenda items 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Taken up as one vote. So number 8, Ramona Acosta, applicant for her husband Juan Acosta, is requesting to rezone his 4.4 acres from A2 to R1 to allow a 1.030 acre portion to be combined to enlarge his daughter's property, parcel number 021, to 2.030 acres, and to allow a 1.023 acre portion to be combined to enlarge his adjoining tract 0012022 to 2.053 acres. The remaining 2.335 acres will be retained by his son. The property is located at 1754 Rogers Church Road in Commerce on map 12, parcel 20 in District 1. Number 9, Ramona Acosta, applicant for her daughter Christina Martinez, is requesting to rezone her 1 acre property from A2 to R1 to allow a 1.030 acre portion to be absorbed into the property from adjoining property 0012020 to enlarge it to 2.03 acres and to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 1786 Rogers Church Road in Commerce on map 12, parcel 21 in District 1. Number 10, Ramona Acosta, applicant for her husband Juan Acosta, is requesting to rezone his 1.03 acres from A2 to R1 to allow a 1.03 acre portion to be absorbed into the property from his adjoining property, 0012020, to enlarge it to 2.053 acres and to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 1830 Rogers Church Road in Commerce on map 12, parcel 22 in District 1. Number 11, Ramona Acosta, applicant for her husband Juan Acosta, is requesting a variance for his 1.03 acres to allow property lines to be altered on property containing a dwelling that does not meet the required 60-foot setback requirement from the center line of road. It would be an 18.2-foot deficit. The property is located at 1830 Rogers Church Road in Commerce on map 12, parcel 22 in District 1.
All right, is the applicant present? Please, combine all this and let us know what you want.
Yes.
Okay?
We just want to divide so we can make it like even for our kids and just make it larger on the other 2 that are 1 point something acres. That's what we want to do.
So the site plan, as you can see, it's enlarging. So this tract right here went all the way like an L.
Mm-hmm.
And she
want to divide it.
Yeah, and she's just adding this one to this tract to make it 2.03 acres, and this one to that tract.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming off of a 4.4 acre tract. It goes like this, like an L. You can be a little bit clear.
Now, again, as I asked on all of these R1s, is it consistent?
This is rural conservation.
It's not, it is a rural conservation.
Yes, sir.
The board needs to know that before. Fine, any questions for the applicant?
So right now, it's only 1 track, right?
There's currently 3 tracks.
There's 3 tracts involved.
I know, but this, the one she wants to split is just one.
Right, the 4.4.
Okay, that's what I want to know, sorry.
Any further questions? We're also dealing with the variance here.
Yes, the third rezone is dependent upon an approved variance, to allow the property lines to be altered. to a property that doesn't meet the setbacks from the center line.
Correct. Okay. Any further comments or clarification?
I've got comments, but I'll wait if you want to go through the process.
Well, I have a question. We're questioning, right?
Yes.
Okay. So your daughter and, is your son living next door?
My son is staying in that one. My daughter is here.
Yeah, and their property is not, was it an acre or something now already? Or
This is the 4.
Yeah, that's the 4. What's theirs?
This is 1 acre, where my daughter is. And this is 1.3.
1.03.
Where we're at.
So they're not consistent.
Now, all of these residential buildings or houses or whatever, they were there prior to zoning?
This one was, and this one we remodeled, and here my daughter's building a house.
Which is fine, because you can do that as long as you can meet the setback.
Okay. All right, any further questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone wants to speak in favor? Hearing none. Is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition? Come forward, state your name and tell us what you want us to know.
My name's Brenda Watkins. I live at 1318 Hope Rogers Road. I'm also a member of Rogers Baptist Church, and I'm not in opposition because it's too late to be in opposition. The reason they need the variance is because this house that they have remodeled probably was built back about 1901 or 19, very long time ago. And that was not a paved road, that was dirt road, this was dirt road. It wasn't that close to the road when it was first built. This house is an existing house, and they bought this property, they bought all this property. They remodeled this house, it's beautiful, they do nice work. But I don't understand, this house is just recently been built. And why is it just now needing to be rezoned? Like, this was an existing house, this was a separate property, like I said, it came here and that way. And, so I don't understand why it's just now, why the zoning is just now come up. That's my first question. And I guess my second question is, if it is rezoned, it doesn't meet the like I said, it doesn't fit our community, it doesn't fit the comprehensive plan. R1 on the corner there, across from the church, at those two crossroads, R1's not what fits there. If it is approved, which I guess it will have to be, can they build anything else? If they've got 2 acres and 2 acres and 2 acres with R1, can they build a house right here in this corner? They already have a garage right in here. I don't know if the garage has a bathroom or not, but I have a feeling it might. And there's a well and the septic tanks. Can they build anything else on this property here if it's R1?
No.
It's too big enough for building anything else?
They wouldn't be able to get a permit.
Are there no ADUs in R1?
Right.
Okay.
What now? So nothing else could be built on any of the 3 properties? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else will speak in opposition? Please come forward.
My name is Brenda Hart. I own 860 Minish Road, right beside of one of the properties, and now I got a letter from it. But my everything around us is agricultural. They are fenced in. We've got a goat farm right in front of me, right there, and even across from them. We've got cattle. Adam's family has always had cattle. They got cattle all around us. they've been horses across the road over there, and I just wanna, my opinion is, I wanna keep it, agricultural. And the reason is, and I'm new to, I don't know, I've never spoken like this, but I also like Brenda Watkins just said, I don't even understand about the permit. The house that they said, it's already built. They didn't have enough land, they're combining land now to, have it permitted, where it be regulated or whatever y'all call it. And I'm saying, the house is already built. They hadn't even got the lights and all cut on because they got to get all this situated before the house even, can be right. I mean, I don't understand all this. And also, I'm just saying, the water, with our added houses that's coming in on it and all, I like it, me and my husband, we've owned it since '85, on my property. And we've had to adjust our foot valve and everything in our well several times during, the drought and this and that. So if you keep adding houses in this area on this same little plot and everything, what is it gonna do for our water? I mean, I'm real concerned. I mean, I'm 70 years old, so, I just can't keep adding and building. I don't have the money, to keep adding, redoing a well and all this, and I mean, that's my concern on it. And I just wanna keep it agricultural if we can. That's what I had to buy. We own 6 1/4 acres to start off with, but they paved the road in front of us, so we own 78 point, because the county took some for the road and all. But we moved there because we wanted it to stay agricultural and rural. So that's just the way I feel about it.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? All right, come forward and.
My name is Johnson Bennett. I'm the previous owner of 1786 that they're trying to get rezoned. And the reason I had to sell it is because y'all told me I didn't have enough property to have my septic tank and my well on that piece of property. So now I live at 860 Minnis Road with Mr. Brenda that was just up here because I didn't have enough property to put a well. They've already put a well on that property. And they built that house on my existing abandoned septic line. How did they do that? Because the first thing it says on when you pull up y'all's zoning and codes that it is unlawful to build a house on top of abandoned septic tank lines. And they didn't remove no septic tank lines. That house is built on top of my septic tank line. When I had them put in, I bought that property when I was 13 years old. I put a trailer on it when I was got married in 1988. We put a septic tank in, and we put enough lines for 2 people. And y'all come out there and inspect it. Y'all made me put 500 more foot in because it was a 3-bedroom trailer. The whole backyard where that house is built is on top of my septic tank line that I had to put in 1988 because y'all said I didn't have enough. Nobody removed them. And the drainage ditch that they got in front of the house and the side of it, it runs out in the field. It's got to be running off my septic tank line. I lived there 37 years. And I don't understand how they got permits to build a house on top of that. Because it says it's illegal and unhealthy.
I can't answer your question. I don't know. Anything else?
No.
Anyone else? Hearing none, you have a rebuttal? Yes.
On the garage that's on our property, the 1830, there's no restrooms in that. That's a huge garage, so there's no restrooms in there. And what he's talking about, the old septic tank, we did not build on that, but like way off onto the side. And they checked and we did all the permits, we did the soil test, and everything was good. That's why they let us build there.
All right. I have a question for you.
Yes.
What happens if it's not rezoned?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, we just wanted to divide so we can make it even for our two, like our other children, just to make it, like, we just want this to be all one. We're not gonna build nothing like here or here, back here. We're not gonna do anything. We just want it to be like all straight, so they can have something even. That's it. We're not gonna build anymore.
Okay. Anything else?
So why rezone it?
No, we don't do that.
No, we're finished with that now. You have anything else you want?
No, that was it. We just wanted to do it so they can have it like even. That's it.
All right.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right, we will close the public hearing, and we'll bring it back to the board for any discussion or entertain a motion.
Can I ask a question about that variance? So the
Sure.
variance, they don't need that really, since it's in there existing anyway.
No, because if they're gonna absorb that extra acreage into that property, it has to conform with the current guidelines, and you can't add more road frontage, so that variance is required.
That's only if it's rezoned.
Only if it's rezoned, yes.
Well, it's because you're creating a new lot of
Yeah,
record.
right.
So, once it's a new lot of record, then that lot has to either comply or have a variance for non-compliance.
Okay. I have a question, might be for Tracy or Melissa. The parcel in blue, had an existing home on it that has been upgraded, right? I mean, that we built onto something that was already there. The parcel in yellow, is that a residence that started from scratch?
It's under construction.
On a 1 acre lot?
Yes.
It's a lawfully non-conforming lot,
Correct.
and they were able to get septic approval.
Right.
What's unique about this, to me, is we've got two 1 acre lots, that if they are rezoned to R1, well, they would only be rezoned to R1 if we combine them. If we do the splits and the combination. But as is, they're too small to be R1, they would be non-conforming R1.
They're currently non-conforming A2.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
They're gonna be non-conforming regardless.
So how are they not?
Well, then if we go to R1, then it will meet
Yeah,
the
they
minimum
will
lot.
meet the requirement.
Correct.
Non-conforming in the sense of the comp plan.
On the comp plan, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I guess where I'm going is, would they be more conforming if we made the acreages 2, 2, and 2, as opposed to what they are now? Would it be a matter of moving toward more conformance by doing what they want to do? They can't build additional houses on it, they can't be split, once they're made 2 acres. Does that make sense?
And I had put that in the narrative, and it was in making.
I got a question, man. That's 3 houses on that.
Sir, we're not having a public hearing right now.
The discussion is over from the public.
I just wanna know where the other house is. There's 3 houses on it.
Sir, no.
This is up to the board. I'm sorry.
I'm just thinking the pros and cons of denial or approval.
So each property already has one house on it.
Yes, as it.
I guess my only comment, from my perspective, and I'm not a voting member, is, we have to be consistent. If we're going to say that the comp plan says that it is inconsistent, that we have tried to do, you know, I understand that there's circumstances that surround a lot of things, that a lot of things come into play, other than the comprehensive plan. But that is something that the citizens approved, it was put into effect. Honestly, this is not fit. So from a standpoint of common sense, it doesn't really, nothing's actually gonna change. But we as a board have to be consistent in what we do.
How's it different than the last one?
I agree. I agree, but, you know, it's up to the board. We'll make the recommendation.
Since you, it's not consistent with the comp plan, I recommend you deny this rezone. On all of it. In the variance.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. We do have a second. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, this is where I go back to, I wish we would stay where we were with the ARs to keep, because we keep getting non-conforming acreages, smaller acreages. So, but that's all, water under the bridge.
Yeah. Well, as your chair, I'm sure you've heard me say lots of times that I disagree with what has been decided has been decided. You know, what the rules are the rules. Until it's changed, then we must remain consistent in what we do in our recommendation. So, anyway, have a motion and a second. I believe it's on you, Lee. Yes.
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 Yes. All right, this has been, denied from this board. Again, on December the 1st, we will present to the Board of Commissioners. I suggest that both the applicant and those that are opposed be present, because they may have questions that we did not address, and they will have the final decision. With that, we'll move on to the next one.
Number 12, Keith, Deborah, and Brian Reynolds are requesting to rezone their 6.13 acres from R1 to AR to allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for a family member. The property is located at 457 Rocky Branch Hollow Road in Nicholson on map 6, parcel 58 in District 1.
All right, the applicant here,
Yes, sir.
please come forward.
I'm Deborah Reynolds, property owner. My daughter-in-law lives with my son on the property, and we are requesting a change from R1 to AR in order to add a second residence. And I'll let her give you the story on why.
The second residence is for my brother. He is dealing with some health issues. He is not married, he doesn't have any children, and I am his only relative here. My mom lives in Maine, and it would just be in the best interest of him to live next door so that we can take care of him as he needs to be taken care of.
All right. I guess this is one that's actually backwards from what we've been used to hearing.
His driveway gonna come off y'all.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Anyone wants to speak in favor? Anyone want to hear or want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back before the board, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Cynthia to approve.
Second.
We have a second. William. Any questions or comments? William, I believe it's on you?
Yes.
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 Lee? Yes. All right, This board has voted to recommend approval. Again, we will present it to the Board of Commissioners. You don't have to be here, but I suggest that you do. All right, moving on to number 13.
Adam Swan, applicant for James Bertall, is requesting to rezone a 4.4 acre portion of his 15.16 acres from A2 to R1 to sell and combine with adjoining property 4038 for desired additional road frontage. The remaining 10.76 acres will stay in the A2 zone. The property is located at 973 Floyd Road in Danielsville on map 40, parcel 44 in District 2.
All right. Someone here representing the applicant or the applicant himself?
Yes,
Please come forward.
my name is Cody Goff. I'm here representing Mr. Adam Swan today, also with the approval of the property owner, James Bertall. And really what we're looking to do here is there is an existing tract here that is 50 acres, and the request today is really to take 4 acres from Mr. Bertall's property. He's going to sell it to Mr. Swan, my client, and combine it with this property. The driving force behind the reason to do that is currently this 50 acres only has one access point through an existing subdivision, through this Raccoon Hollow Road. And so by acquiring this 4 acres, and which is allows some frontage there off of Eugene Hardman Road, would allow a second access point. So it just has additional access to the property. And again, so we're not really changing anything here. The boundary, I would just note too, of what we're going to be rezoned. This is already sort of an R1 that abuts up against an A2. That's not going to change. It's just going to be slid over a little bit, again, to allow the frontage there. And so, if you don't mind scrolling to the other, the map, the color map, I just kind of, again, want to make the point too that while this is inconsistent use with the plan, I kind of want to just again highlight that really what this would be doing was making this red just kind of squared off there. So it's not like we're putting residential use next to something that it wouldn't be normally next to. It's already going to be the same property boundary and the net boundary up to the same use. It's just a slight extension of the R1 for the purposes of allowing that additional access point along Eugene Hardman Road.
All right, questions?
So I was wondering, are you coming off the front or the back of, the red part?
It would be the front, like so where the red would just slide over.
Okay, so where's the other road access?
Right now it comes through this subdivision. So this line right here is the Raccoon Hollow that I was showing you.
Right.
So that would be the only access point to this R1.
Right.
But if we allow this to move over, then you have a second access point off Eugene Hardman Road. That way, if there's ever any sort of, emergency or blockage or whatever on this one, you got another access point.
Oh, I was just
and vice versa.
find out the road up there. Okay, the road is up there. Okay.
Right, it's where this black line is kind of Eugene Hardman. It fronts this property. Yeah, this may be another good example of it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's better.
Right, yeah. So you've got only the one access point here. This by bringing this up here and over a little bit, you allow 200 more feet of footage. That way, you can have a second access point to what is already the R1. So we're not really, that's not changing. We're just sort of moving it over, and again, not changing the boundary or how it abuts. It's just kind of a slight expansion, going from 50 acres to 54 to allow that additional access.
Is that access going to be onto a paved road or to a dirt road?
Well, right now, Eugene Hardman, are you asking about Eugene Hardman? Is
the additional entrance that you're asking if it's approved.
Oh, right, yes, it would be paved, to bring in, if this is ultimately ever developed into a subdivision, that would be paved up to that point, and then the roads would, go into the subdivision to allow access there.
Paved by, that's a county road. Paved by the developers?
So, right, so Mr. Swan would be willing to pave, and there's been discussions about this, but we can't really get that far without having the access. Like right now, there is no access. But there is a willingness to pave from Floyd to Eugene Hardman to allow access into here.
Look, back to the access issue, is having the access to Eugene Hardman Road, is that a wish or a necessity?
It's a strong wish. It's not a necessity because, like I said, we do have access here. There is water that comes through here, and there could certainly be, access through that way. But allowing it off Eugene Hardman is just makes more sense logistically. It would be a lot easier, and you have sort of the added benefit of 2 points of access in the event, like I said, that there's an emergency condition, road blockages, or anything like that. You're not diverting everything through this subdivision. You've got a second access point.
Has it been determined that Raccoon Hollow can be used as an access point? I know there's a power line easement that comes through there. Has all that been cleared up that can be used for an access point?
Yeah, and that's my understanding. And my client also, controls the HOA for this subdivision as well. So we could definitely, or I don't say definitely, but there hasn't been an actual plat or design for what would happen in this R1 area yet, because what the options of what you could do there are kind of dependent on whether or not there is another access point and whether or not the primary access would come this way.
So long term, you want to develop that part?
That is correct, yes. I mean, there's no current,
but long term, what you really want to do is get it prepared where you can.
So that's correct. And I mean, even going back to when this subdivision was developed, and the various covenants were done like that, when this was platted, there were plans for subdivision up there going back to 2005. So it just hasn't, a second phase of this just hasn't ever been done. And now it's kind of like looking at, the various options to do that at this point.
So that part that, in the blue, is that already R1?
That's
So that's
yes.
already R1?
Right, yeah, what we would be adding is slightly squaring off R1
Yeah.
to add more access.
Okay.
So the existing one that was sort of phase one, that was rezoned. It was actually a 90-acre and a 10-acre parcel back then, but they were rezoned together. Everything you're looking at, both the developed and the undeveloped part, were rezoned to R1 with a conservation overlay. Conservation was later removed from the ordinance, and that's another something I might want to discuss with Cody offline.
Sure.
All right, any further questions? Joe?
I guess my hesitation is to rezone an additional 4.4 acres to combine with what you've already got without absolute assurance that an entrance can be made off of that road back there, that it is paved. Does it have to be from one end to the other, just partial paved? I mean, none of that has been worked out. I'm trying not to put the cart before the horse. It just sounds like there's still some moving parts here that haven't been definitely answered. And here we are, looking at rezoning 4.4 acres.
Right, and that's certainly a fair scenario, but what we get from the other side in planning in the road department is, well, we're putting the cart before the horse talking about access when we don't even have access to the road. So at some point, I guess we'll either have to work together or someone will have to do this. And that's why we're here today, sort of seeking access. And the rezone, we don't feel like it's that significant of a request, given sort of what I said earlier. And then when we have the access, we could go to planning and say, okay, it's there now, design it accordingly, spend the money to do the design that we need to do, and then can work that way. And if paving and a certain conditions on the access need to be conditions to the approval, then that's something that definitely I think that we would be willing to consider.
And has it been determined that being approved 20 years ago as an R1 for a potential conservation subdivision, which we have no more, adding another 4.4 acres to something that we don't have on the books anymore. I mean, I'm not trying to muddy the water, but
I think the water's already muddy.
do we move ahead with it, or are there questions that can be answered before we consider this?
I mean, as you can tell, I know Mr. Goff. I think he's an excellent lawyer. I would love to have more time to discuss these issues because I do think the water's already muddy.
Okay.
And I would be certainly inclined to have those discussions. I will say that as far as the conservation easement issue, when this, the first phase, what I call the subdivision right under here, was zoned R1 and put in the conservation easement only covered that tract. So as recorded, there is not a conservation easement on this one. But again, as when the conservation subdivision fell off the ordinances and was repealed, the consequence of that, as I understand it, is, well, so no longer can these be developed as lots that are half an acre, which was allowed under a conservation subdivision. Now they have to follow the 1.5 acre rule for R1. So again, you sort of get a trade-off, and it doesn't really materially affect the number of lots that can ultimately go there. It's just whether or not, like now we don't have the conservation requirement in the smaller lots. Now you just have the normal lots under R1. That's my understanding of it. We'll certainly be willing to have some additional conversations around it.
Yeah, I think part of that is that, I mean, the conservation overlay was, I guess, ideally considered to be a win-win. The developer gets smaller lot sizes in less developed area. The public gets preservation of open space. Who views what as the benefit in this case? Would the developer want smaller lot sizes in exchange for conservation area? Would the county like to have smaller lot sizes in exchange for conservation area? I don't know.
Well, I have a separate question, getting a little bit away from that. Is it appropriate, since the water is muddy, is it appropriate for this board to say, we want to delay this until more information can be done between the attorneys and to unmuddy the water? Can we delay it?
Certainly you can with the applicant's permission, and you may not need his permission. That's what I'm looking up right now. But I guess, and if you don't know, you don't know. But do you know? Would you be able to consent to another postponement for a month, or is that something you're not prepared to say today?
I'm not prepared to say at this moment. That would be definitely something I would need to talk to Mr. Swan about, and if he was traveling, and so I'm here on his behalf.
Well, can I ask you one thing? I'm just
Absolutely.
curious, I'm talking out of turn. So can we use conditions on the road?
Well, and that's another issue that we talked about in our business meeting here, and Cody didn't have the benefit of. So I'm not at all sure that a condition that requires what the development impact fee law calls a system improvement would be enforceable. So.
Well, from my standpoint, and you asked him the question, I think that decision is upon this board, not necessarily needing their approval, to delay if we feel like we're not ready to recommend either approval or disapproval. So, from where I sit, that's my recommendation
And can we
to
go
the
ahead,
voting members.
can we go ahead with the public hearing?
I would think so.
Can
So
you give me
we need
just a
all the
second
information
to
we
find-
can get.
Oh, you want some more time?
Can you give me just a second?
Sure.
Okay? Close these amendments. Okay, so. Huh. Yeah, this is waiting on homemade amendments, so I don't know, take the chances.
If the board, if it's possible for me to take, 60 seconds, I could go make that phone call and see if I could get, Mr. Swan, the applicant,
Okay.
on the line.
And with all due respect, I understand that you can talk to Mr. Swan, but I still think that decision is upon this board to decide if they want to delay or not.
Well,
Whether they got
I would,
enough information or not.
Well, you didn't get me to write it, so I would point to your homemade 14371 and 14. Where's the one that says one cycle? So you have. So it says in 1437 under Planning Commission action, a public hearing is conducted. Planning and Zoning Commission may recommend that the application be postponed to a certain time, granted as requested, or it may recommend a modification, or it may recommend the application not be granted. I'm not sure exactly what some of those things mean. But then you also, under that you have 14372 was added to say when a postponement is not requested by the applicant, the Planning and Zoning Commission has the authority to postpone to a certain time for a maximum of one meeting cycle. So I guess it was postponed last time with the applicant's permission, so maybe you still have that one meeting cycle available after you conduct the public hearing. You can postpone your decision to your next public hearing meeting, although you would hold another public hearing. I know I sound like a crazy man, but I didn't write that.
All right. Let's go do the public hearing, and then I will leave it up to this board to determine if you want to proceed or you want to postpone until the next meeting.
Don't look at me.
So,
wait to get
well, I mean,
Based on what you said a minute ago, if we say it ends up being postponed, is 30 days enough for you all to get together to answer the questions that are on the paper?
I have no idea.
I mean, I can certainly make myself available and do, whatever I needed to do to work with Mr. Pruitt to answer this, yeah.
Okay.
So I would try, that's my.
Yeah, right. We would try.
all right, with that, we'll move on to the public hearing, and then we'll come back and make some type of decision.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Now, at this point, we will open the public hearing. Is there anybody here that wants to speak in favor of this request? Hearing none. Is there anybody here that wants to speak in opposition to? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Thank you. First, my name's Mike Sales, and I live at 1176 Floyd Road and own the property at 950 Floyd Road, which Eugene Hardiman dumps into. When it comes up that, I guess, 60% grade maybe, from Eugene Hardeman up to the top of Floyd Road, my 6.31 acres directly across from it. The questions I have that I don't think has been answered, I don't think it's been even answered on this plat, with the acreage they're wanting to include in R1, if you notice, there's also a 20-foot by 80-foot piece, by 800-foot piece, they want to include as R1, going all the way up Eugene Hardeman Road to Floyd Road, which would then be R1 right across Floyd Road from where I'm at. And it has the designated there as additional right-of-way. But if you look at their plat, on up Eugene Hardeman Road, past the creek, they've got another line drawn in that says future right-of-way. So is the county planning on buying the future right-of-way from the creek on Eugene Hardeman all the way up to 98? Is that what this makes us assume? I don't know. Also, what's not drawn out here is the property line that shows Muddy Creek as the boundary from their request to rezone that property to R1. And if y'all have been around here if you lived around here longer than 2 years, you've known the county has also had to go in and replace that culvert on Eugene Hardeman Road twice, or maybe 3 times. Because when it rains, Muddy Creek floods, it goes over and it takes out that whole road where EMS, fire, sheriff's office, anybody else has not been able to go down Eugene Hardeman Road. So I'm assuming with the 20-foot right-of-way all the way up to Floyd Road, the county would have to go in and build elevation on Eugene Hardeman Road up to that hill, because in the last several years, the county has had to go in and patch Floyd Road, which is a tar and gravel road. As you come up through there, it tears and all. I would venture to say the paved portion of Floyd Road at the top of Eugene Hardeman Road is probably not 25 feet wide now. Okay, and then all the holes down through there. The other problem we have with that is, people talk about the other piece that was R1 and access. Well, they do have access into that area from that, which gives them 2 entrances on Rogers Mill Road. There's 2 entrances from the other side, and this road would go into this acre tract. Okay, if you look at R1, that's 1.5, you're looking at 35 or 36 potential lots being sold there, which they've even said that they're hoping that the county or somebody will go in there and pay that all the way up to Floyd Road, which, if you look at the other side, there's 2 to 3 cars in every house on the other side of that R1. So we're looking at 70 minimum, if only they drove away and never came back, but we're looking at 140 cars a day being dumped on that narrow tar and gravel road that comes out right in the S-curves. And
sir, let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Because I think you're making a lot of assumptions. We can't assume what's going to happen in the future. What we're talking about right now is rezoning
that to R1 means 1.5 acre lots, according to your ordinance. And I don't see where it adheres to the comprehensive plan, not in that area. So I've got some other things, but you're right. I'm only going to assume that it tear up the road.
Okay, all right. Anyone else?
Thank y'all. Long, interesting evening. My name is Beth Warner. I don't live on Floyd Road, but I live on Coley Davis, which is on the tail end of Floyd Road. And I'll start off with, if you drive Floyd Road very often, which I do whenever I'm going to Isla or Midway Feed or to Commerce, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen little hot shots who ended up not making that S-curve, and they're off in the side. So to think that Floyd Road needs more traffic does not compute with what I see on a regular basis. The road is narrow. It also has a curve that is quite dangerous for people who go often on that road now. I will say part of my concern is we're talking about this one piece, but we all know it's in context. of a larger future plan. And I think there's a little bit of concern that maybe some decisions could be made that will influence us in the future. So I do want to make sure we have the chance to have regular, full input. The comprehensive plan came along after the subdivision was put on hold. That's going to be an interesting thing to figure out what the rules are. But in terms of the Floyd Road, there's that S-curve, it's a low-traffic road. It even says in the application it is incompatible with the current plan, with the current comprehensive plan to have that on there. I disagree with the checkbox that says it won't affect traffic. Of course it will if we look long range beyond this one change to say we're talking about a subdivision. Widers Mill Road is on the other side. Maybe they need to look at an existing paved road that has better roadways, less S-curves in order to get a different entrance to a subdivision, which may or may not happen. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Steve Warner. I'm her husband.
Okay.
If you look at the map, that subdivision is packed. And if I live in this area and I have a choice to go through all that to get out or go over here, I'm going to go this way. So you can figure most of your traffic's going to come down on the Floyd Road. That's my point.
All right. Anyone else?
If you could scroll back to that color picture, please. My name's Amy Abrahamson. I live across the river from where the Muddy Creek dumps in. Not that one, the topo one. So my property is right here. So if you look up here, you see there's a lot of bare ground. And if this gets developed, it's going to contribute to a lot more problems with runoff down here where that creek comes in. And I have a picture of what it looked like last June when it was raining real hard. This is the silt that came down.
Everybody see that?
Now, at the bottom of my hill, there was an island. It's no longer an island. It's all silted up. It's all silted up on the far side. So now the creek is undercutting on my side of the property. That's how it's silted. The lights on. I'm very concerned about developing that area. The creek should have silt fences on it already. It became harder than it does not. I'm also very concerned about developing that area for the groundwater usage of that many houses. And likewise with the traffic and everything else that's already been said. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bob Isler. I live at 1000 Floyd Road, which is right next to Mr. Sales' property where Eugene Hardman comes up. Two other things that haven't been mentioned, but they might be in the comprehensive plan. In this area that comes down right through here where Muddy Creek comes through would be because it definitely ties into the South Fork of the Broad River. That would be considered to be a jurisdictional wetland. So there are a lot of, if that gets developed, if there's any action, any silt, as Amy said, that comes down to that area, that's going to be a problem. And then the Corps of Engineers, EPD, would get involved with that. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned is that right next to this parcel and partly on the property in question and partly on another property down Muddy Creek, there is a great blue heron rookery. They are not endangered species, but they are very, very large birds. They nest there every spring. I can hear them all the way up the hill of my house. There are at least 16 nest trees in that area. Any kind of development in that area could disturb the breeding habits of those great blue herons. It's not a certainty, but that could happen. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Don't have a lot more to say, thank you. My name is Judith Herslin. I live also across the river right there. I am an avid walker, so I frequently walk on Floyd and down Eugene Hardeman with my dog, and to think that it could hold any more traffic is absurd. I know that's for the future, but it's because just walking, if a car comes down, the dust will fly. And to pave only from that little area up to Floyd, what about the rest of Eugene Hardeman? I don't think it could stand any more traffic. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
My name is Wayne Chandler, and I live on 173 Floyd Road. My land backs up to Eugene Hardeman Road. And they're correct on the pipe about it flooding. They just washed out a bridge or two in the pipe. But still, if you ride down that road today, the road is lower than the pipe. It backs up from the pipe and still crosses the road. And like I say, that where they talking about coming out at, their land is right there at that creek. So I'm interested, suggest that y'all look at the road before you make a decision. What would have to be done, you know? And then if it dumped out in the Floyd roads, that road ain't been touched in years. It's still one of the old first tar and gravel roads, and it's done narrowed down to where it's not much more than a one-lane road. Because I travel it every day, and if you meet somebody in spots, you just about on the shoulder of the road where it's done, the pavement's done gone, you washed out, and so it's going to be a lot of work that the county is going to have to obtain to handle this traffic. And this subdivision, when it was started out developing, it wasn't car drive on Eugene Hardeman Road. That's basically a narrow dirt road, except on the other end they kind of widened it a little bit. But you know, it was designed to tie into that other subdivision. And I don't, if they're going to develop it, I don't see why it has to dump in on Eugene Hardeman. Not with what it's going to cost to fix it.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right, vote, sir.
Just a few points. I feel like this is sort of turning into a referendum against the subdivision rather than a question of just rezoning this one tract, and I get it, and I understand everyone's concern. It sounds like that there are already some issues with Eugene Hardeman Road, and I don't think that should be held against my client. And I guess to address the points about what this is going to do to potentially endangered species or erosion and sediment control, there are plenty of other government agencies that oversee that, like was mentioned, the Army Corps of Engineers and EPD govern erosion control. EPD also governs endangered species. There will be a lot of stuff that will have to be done to concern that, which I think is in the purview of those other regulatory agencies. And then as to just sort of general in traffic, I mean, I get the idea that people who live along and use Eugene Hardeman Road obviously may not want more traffic. But the alternative really is just more traffic through these areas, which is still, comes through Floyd Road and Rogers Mill. So it's like there's still going to be some additional traffic. And I think there's something to be said in county and emergency services, emergency response, having two access points to certain areas and not having this one access point here into the subdivision. I think could have some safety concerns, but again, I don't want to get into the whole thing about the merits of the subdivision. I just really want to talk about the fact that we are really just talking about extending this out a little bit here. And I want to, if we could scroll back to the site sketch. I just want to address one point that the first speaker made about, I think he had indicated something about coming all the way down the road, but that's really not what's happening. It's just this area right here, it's just 200 feet along Eugene Harmon Road. So like an access point would come in right here, and then go from there. So that's all I want to say. I just kind of wanted to address a couple of those concerns. And again, we're not really adjoining any other property, and we're not putting R1 where it doesn't, wouldn't normally go. It's already kind of there. We're just expanding it from 50 to 54. So that's all I'm going to say.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to the board. Have a lot to consider. So I will entertain a motion. Entertain a motion to approve, to disapprove, to delay, whatever your pleasure.
Based on what's been said, I would make a motion that it be postponed for 30 days to allow these gentlemen to try to work out whatever's still on the table.
So when you say to postpone, are you postponing the vote until the next, not the next business meeting, but the next public hearing? Although there will not be another public hearing because we've already done it.
Right,
You're just postponing the vote to that meeting.
Right.
Is that your motion?
That meeting.
Okay.
We've already held a public hearing.
Right.
All right, I got a motion on the floor to postpone, for 30 days.
Postpone to the next
public hearing.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to postpone to the next public hearing. Any further comments or questions? If not, Cynthia, I think it's you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, this has been postponed as far as the vote from this board to make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. In the meantime, we'll, it's not the right way to say it, but we'll try to unmuddy the water and to give us a better understanding of everything that can or will be. All right, any other, and I suggest, well, I will present to the Board of Commissioners that this be postponed. Right. Okay? All right, moving on to old business.
That's okay. Actually don't have the amendment
Let me make
paperwork.
this real quick.
Okay, thank you.
I took this on, our goal was to establish setbacks for auction work.
Correct.
As a result of the one that we had before, in the last month or so. I took that on to try to come up with some amendments to deal with it, and one thing turns into another, and it's a domino effect, and we've spent time I've been back and forth with Mr. Pruitt as well as the P&Z office trying to clean this up enough to get it to you all with their concerns and comments to try to, for you all to be comfortable with approving something to go on to the BOC. And I'm not there yet. So, my recommendation is, within the next few days, I think I can have a clear picture of what is being recommended. I would recommend not waiting until another meeting, but getting that on to you all by email. If you have any concerns, okay, need this, whatever, let's do it so that by our next meeting, it'll just be done there.
Yeah. And I think at our last meeting, we had said that if there wasn't enough time, that we would, there's no big rush.
Yeah, and I think it's a wonderful start. I mean, it's more than a start, but there's a few little things we still need to do.
And I'll take that on, and I'll drive the boat on that.
We certainly appreciate it, because I didn't want to drive that boat.
You're doing a fine job, Rob, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
I have a question. Do we have to make a motion on the old business to vote on it?
Since it was on the
I'll let you
agenda to talk
answer that question.
about
Can you tell me how it's phrased, did it say consider?
it. It does, to consider
Okay.
recommending to the Board of Commissioners a proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance requiring
Yeah,
setbacks.
I mean, this is not written in stone, but usually when it says consider, we take a vote to postpone it. If it just said discuss, then that implies there's no action needed.
I'll make a motion to postpone. You got a second?
Second.
you.
All right, it's been moved and properly second that we postpone this, consideration. The text amendment to the Board of Commissioners.
Is everyone in favor of that?
Yes. All right, did I get a motion to adjourn? I make a motion to adjourn.